What kind of people will you never understand? Story 1. People who are mean to service retail workers for no reason. Answer. As a retail worker, I am consistently shocked at how nasty and confrontational people are over the most trivial stuff, or they take their terrible days out on me. It's like they forget I'm a person also. Story 2. People who make insane messes in public restrooms. Answer. I did custodial in a university building for a semester, and let me tell you, I saw some shit. There were some people that had very bad days in some of those bathrooms. IDK how it can spray the stall. I've never had diarrhea of that magnitude. But some people have apparently had some struggles beyond what I thought was gastrically possible. Story 3. People who don't put their cart away. Especially the ones that will walk it 2 feet away from the corral and then just leave it sitting there so that it rolls away into a person or a car. Edit. I don't care if you are hurt or the corral is on the other side of the aisle. First of all, if you can walk into the store, get a cart, walk all around the store and back to your car, you don't have an excuse. Second, I am a cart pusher. I regularly walk carts in between cars you would think are too close. It is not hard. You just have to take it slow. Third, I have watched thousands of old folks that need a cane to walk properly take their carts back, even if it means going around some cars. Hell, I once saw a guy on crutches do so. Not returning your cart is pure laziness, and I have had to take too many statements from angry customers with dings and dents because of carts to feel any kind of pity for you. Story 4. People who don't support universal health care in the U.S. The why should I pay for someone else's health care attitude doesn't make any sense, because at this point, removing the insane costs around health care would benefit even those who have good private insurance and have worked hard to get where I am now, or whatever. There are many circumstances where the current system would mean they too go broke. But no, I'm willing to risk paying $50,000 for my own 3-day hospital stay, just so I don't have to pay a much smaller amount of money regularly for something that benefits me as much as it benefits others. It makes absolutely no damn sense. Story 5. People who gamble excessively. I understand the addiction aspect to it. I just don't understand how it feels good. Once in a blue moon, I treat myself to a lottery ticket, and I feel a tinge of guilt spending that $4/5, knowing it's probably gone forever. I couldn't imagine losing tens of thousands and then going back for more. Story 6. People who don't treat their pets as part of their family. Literally just got verbally assaulted by some people who thought me caring for my cats like they're my own children was cringe. To me, it's cringe not to. Why adopt an animal otherwise? Story 7. People who constantly ask for help, but every time you provide a solution, they tell you why they can't do it, and they'll always have whatever problem they have at the moment. It's usually because the solution involves them changing or taking action, instead of someone giving them a handout, but I'll just never understand it. Story 8. Anti-vaxxers. I'm not talking about some of the new vaccines and the engineering behind them, which is pretty technically amazing. No, I'm talking about the idiots that are anti-all vaccines, like polio, measles, mumps, rubella, etc. The history and science is pretty clear on these that the benefits far outweigh the risks. They actually are gambling with their children's lives and just don't see it. Story 9. Flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, climate change deniers. I wouldn't call them anti-science, they rather are anti-reality. Now at nearly 46 years, I can remember my childhood and see the changes in overall weather patterns and the rise in temperature. NASA has a Twitch channel they stream from time to time, and you can see the Earth. Story 10. As a deeply empathetic person, I can understand that there are some people who simply lack the capacity for empathy whatsoever and only care for themselves. That's a concept I can grasp. What I don't understand is the people who have selective empathy, such as people who can feel empathy for SA victims, but not for people who are addicted to drugs, just as an example, especially since sometimes it's the same person. Or empathy for people struggling with autism, but not with BPD. I keep coming across selectively empathetic people throughout my life, and it's baffling to me. Story 11. People who park in handicapped spaces that have no disability. I am blessed to be able to walk on my own 2 feet with no back issues or neurological disorders. I don't ever want to need to park there. So why would I take that from someone who truly needs it? Story 12. People who don't know how to be normal in airports. If you are Group 8 and Group 1 is boarding, standing near the gate will not help you board faster, is anything it causes congestion, and standing right at the belt to get your luggage. I've had to push people out of the way to grab my shit off the belt because every place on the carousel was jammed. I have several friends I will never travel with again because they were just feral in airports. It's 2024. Yes, you have to take your shoes off. No, you can't take drinks. I swear everyone loses 12 IQ points the second they step in an airport. Story 13. I don't understand the hardcore MAGA and Conan folks. It doesn't make sense to tie your entire identity to something so made up. They want to make United States into some Sharia law type state ran by religion, but then are so gaslighted into thinking that's what they are opposing and fighting against. It's mind-bending how easily these people are drawn into these crazy ideas. I feel like some of the left is also in their own la-la land with blinders on too, but the right is just really out there. Story 14. People who complain constantly. I'm not talking about depression or when times are tough and it's difficult to stay positive. I'm talking about the people that nitpick and overreact out of proportion. If your meal order is fucked up, send it back and they'll make you new one. Your friend ditched out on plans to be with their SO. Big deal. Your cyber beast bricks because it rained. Story 15. While I can technically understand it, I genuinely cannot get my head around people who are completely divorced from reality and integrity and are happy to lie their asses off. Just to be clear, I don't mean genuinely delusional people. I mean abusers and grifting politicians and cult leaders who are just totally comfortable spitting out a complete falsehood in their own interest. I'm not even sure they believe they are lying, or are just so narcissistic they genuinely believe if they think it's the truth, but overall, yikes. Story 16. People who give any kind of fuck about celebrities outside of enjoying their movies, music, etc. People who actually get invested in reality TV and think it's real in any way. Genuinely thinking people are falling in love on The Bachelor and things of that nature. When I hear either being spoken about by somebody as if it matters, I can't help but think of them as less than intelligent. I said Taylor Swift is more than likely a bad person behind the scenes of her image, like most wealthy and famous people one day at work. A young woman I worked with at the time absolutely lost her mind, demanded I take it back and apologize. She threatened to make an HR complaint, FFS. She was on the verge of tears over criticism of a woman she has never met, seen in person, and who would not give one fuck about her if she had. I told her to fuck right off, but people like that exist, and there's a lot of them, LOL. Story 17. People who aren't curious. We have such a beautiful and interesting world, and I can, and frequently do, look up anything I want with my little pocket computer. How neat is that? We had to explain to my SO's mom why it was important to study space and how much tech we develop in that process that has directly benefited her life. She didn't get why it was cool/important to understand how the universe works, or why I, a psych major, and my SO, an art major, would be interested in science stuff. Don't you want to know what's out there, how an engine works? Did you know tardigrades exist? Isn't it neat how the Earth's core works? How are you not curious about the world around you? Story 18. I literally don't get how you can become obsessed with a celebrity, or just let it become some kind of ideology. I just don't get the obsession in just watching them constantly and keeping tabs. I don't understand how people give fucks about that kind of stuff, or how you have the time to even give a fuck in the first place. Examples include Kardashians, Love Island, and those brain-dead influencers, Swifties. I understand keeping tabs on academic people, or people who can potentially contribute to your career, or if your career is somewhat tied to this, but just some random celeb. Story 19. People who work too much, even so many hours after the working hours, and no one asked him to take additional hours, offering additional pays. I've seen so many coworker who stay on late in the office. You work 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You are not the boss of the owner of the company. Working until 9 p.m. is not a motive to be proud, is sad. Someone would waiting you in home, and none will pays you the additional hours. Story 20. People who don't care about animals and the impact human greed is having on the environment and world in general. Also, men on social media who comment under any video of a woman who appears happy that she's used up or ran through. I genuinely can't wrap my head around that level of self-depression and anger. Story 21. Entitled people who think their own country's laws suddenly apply in foreign countries and cannot get over the fact that those countries' citizens come before them. Sorry, mate, you're the minority here. Don't like it? Maybe you should go back to your own country. That's what the Americans say, right? Story 22. People who cannot or are unable to apologize when they do something obviously wrong. They'll go to such lengths to sabotage a relationship or just make it a complete mess rather than simply say sorry. I will never understand that mentality. Story 23. Billionaires. Like from an ethics standpoint, there are no ethical billionaires. You don't get there by hard work. You get there by abusing the system and your fellow humans. But beyond that, the motivation to accumulate to this degree, like you get that you're going to die just like us poors, right? Can you really say you're enjoying life by accumulating just for the sake of accumulating? What a shallow life, I don't get it. Story 24. Morning people. I'm not talking about people who get up early out of necessity for things like school and work. I'm talking about people who are out and about long before the crack of dawn, seemingly just for the sake of it. What on earth is worth doing at that hour? Story 25. People who leave trash and messes in their wake. Spill some soft drink on the gas station counter or floor, wipe it up. Don't leave your damn straw wrappers everywhere. Quit throwing cigs and garbage out of car windows. Pick up your table after you eat. Don't leave piss on the toilet rim or seat. Simple rules. Story 26. Grown adults who never matured past 3. I hate when I have to tell a grown adult no, and they threw a temper tantrum. Like, I'm sorry in your pathetic life, I'm the first person to tell you no, but grow the hell up, get over it, and move on. At 25, I shouldn't have to tell someone in their 50s to grow up and act like an adult. Story 27. People who make fun of those being nice to them. Example, I am a bartender and compliment people when I like their clothes, hair, jewelry, etc. There's one regular that rolls his eyes and laughs with his friends when I compliment his shirt. I think it's especially important for guys to be complimented, as they don't get them often, but this guy makes me feel like a loser for being nice. No more compliments for him now. My coworkers have said I compliment people a lot, and I think they think I do it to be likable, but I don't. I do it because people are happier accepting compliments from strangers, and it boosts their self-esteem. It feels shitty being mocked for doing something nice. Story 28. People who had luck and made a fortune and waste all the money like it was nothing instead of investing for a better future. Why people who don't deserve money gets money and become poor again due to poor financial education. I know what I would have done with that shitload of money if I was me. Never spend on liability, but only invest in a funds for my future. Story 29. Parents who let their kids go to friends' houses without meeting the parents. At least introduce yourself to the PPL watching your child. Check out the surroundings. Had a mom ask if her child could come over. We've never met. Okay, that's fine, I say. Get a text back. Okay, kid, will be there from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. I work, and there's no way I'm going to be a free sitter. Obviously canceled ASAP, the audacity. Story 30. People who walk their dogs on busy roads without a leash. Sure, your dog may be the best boy in the world, but they're still animals and could bolt if scared. They want to chase something, etc. Why would you risk your dog getting hurt when the solution is so easy? It honestly feels neglectful to me. Story 31. People who announce that they're leaving a sub like, okay, this isn't an airport, you don't need to announce your departure. Also people who get blocked by another user and then reply to them anyway. I get that maybe it's a catharsis thing, but they can't see you, dude. Story 32. Competitive people. I'm not talking about someone who works hard to achieve a worthwhile goal, but the kind of people who will try to take someone's joy out of their achievement. Like, it's nice that you want a free Christmas trip to Hawaii, but April is really the best time to go there. That's when I went. Story 33. People who don't know how to be normal in airports. If you are Group 8 and Group 1 is boarding standing near the gate, will not help you board faster, is anything it causes congestion, and standing right at the belt to get your luggage. I've had to push people out of the way to grab my shit off the belt because every place on the carousel was jammed. I have several friends I will never travel with again because they were just feral in airports. It's 2024. Yes, you have to take your shoes off. No, you can't take drinks. I swear everyone loses 12 IQ points the second they step in an airport. Story 34. Single-issue voters. Like, huh? That's not how life works. We have access to the largest wealth of information that any human has had, ever. Go inform yourself about things. It's not hard. There is more than one important thing at stake in elections. And as an American, I might have slightly more stake in this. But I also apply this to any single-issue voter around the world. Story 35. People who just have a general disregard for others, acting like they're the only person in the world. Applies to anything big and small, from being assholes in traffic to people at the supermarket who'll put their cart on one side of the lane while standing on the other to look at what exact product to buy. Story 36. People whose resume says they have a degree in life from the School of Hard Knocks. My dude, you have work experience. List it. That line might have worked during in-person interviews 40, 50 years ago when people had to pound the pavement to find a job and get by partly on bravado and force of personality. But that's not how it works anymore. Be honest. It's so much easier. Story 37. People in bad or abusive relationships not leaving. It doesn't happen overnight. We need to be the ones to save ourselves and not ignore red flags. Because I love him, or he's rich, or any other reason doesn't cut it for me. Growing up in that atmosphere doesn't help when making relationship choices, but you are making a choice. I grew up with an alcoholic father who could be really nasty. I observed friends' parents who looked like normal people, although they could have been hiding something. I decided and stuck to it what I wanted in a relationship. An alcoholic was someone I didn't want. So any guy I thought drank too much or tried to limit my being with friends or always monitoring where I was, I just wouldn't be around. I knew there were families without alcoholics, and that's what I chose. Get an education. job, your own place, support yourself, rely on yourself. Then you can leave a relationship more confidently. It's up to us to choose a good, trustworthy partner. We all deserve that. Keep your eyes open. As soon as you're feeling uncomfortable, find out why. It really is a choice to enter into a relationship. Story 38, bubble-dwelling mental spectators who can't be bothered to look past the ends of their noses or have any original thoughts of their own. Those people who are far too lazy to actually look into anything for themselves, so they just regurgitate and parrot whatever trendy bullshit all their NPC MuppetBot buddies are currently talking about. They only believe what they see on TV and absolutely refuse to even consider anything their lazy asses aren't spoon-fed by MSM or the top 2 results of some Google search. If they woke up tomorrow morning and the media told them they needed to start doing the exact opposite of everything they have been being told to do for the past however many weeks, months, or years, they would just go along with it, acting like nothing happened, and nobody would so much as bat an eye. You know the type. Story 39, dude, I'm totally loud. Look how loud I am. I'll never understand people who can't shut up, talk over other people, shout every word they say, modify their car, motorcycle to make it louder, play music on speakers in public, and so on. Being unnecessarily loud is like shining a bright light in someone's eyes, going up to people and poking them, or farting in an elevator. But some people think it's not only acceptable, but cool to assault the senses, and they do it all the time. Story 40. Girls who think they can do whatever they want because they're girls. When I was a senior in high school, a girl walked up to my desk to take my plate of cookies that I made in cooking class earlier that day. I had to grab her by the arm to stop her from trying to walk away, and despite me telling her multiple times to let go of them and put them down, she and another girl had the audacity to tell me to let go of her arm because a man under no circumstance should grab a woman, even though she was stealing from me. Story 41. Men who purposely keep their kids from the other parent solely on the reason that they are not together. I could never imagine in being that spiteful to keep my child from having a happy, healthy relationship with their other parent. P's. I'm not talking about keeping them away from abusive, druggy, psycho, etc. people. I'm talking about people who do everything they can to be helpful, an attentive parent, someone who bends over backwards regardless of how the other parent feels to make sure their child is taken care of. Story 42. People who complain about their favorite genres of music withering away in today's society, when in reality, it's more alive than ever. They just refuse to put any effort into finding new artists. The one that comes to mind is older generations claiming that country music is dead, or there hasn't been any real country music since the 90s. I can name dozens of fantastic modern country artists that are in their prime right now. But the older folks are hard-headed, make no attempt to find new artists, especially at a time when it's easier than ever to discover new artists by means of streaming services, which recommend similar artists to your most listened to artists. Story 43. A person in another Reddit thread today told me it was normal to think of your pet as your literal child, and that in a hypothetical scenario, they would choose to save their pet cat's life over a human child they don't know. A pet is part of your family, but thinking of them as your literal child and choosing their lives over human children is psychotic in my opinion.